So we're out here at the 2019 Muscle Car Challenge presented by Falken Tires. It's an exciting event. I've been coming for about 16 years, and what this event holds is 3 different tests: slalom, road course, and 100-yard dash. So when you got a car out there doing really well in the slalom, it may not do that good in the road course, and what you need to do is gain points. Points win the grand prize. And what we have behind me are our cars. These are badass muscle cars, anywhere from a Nova, Chevelle, Camaro, Corvettes. I've seen them all out here, and they're all bitchin' race cars. And when I say bitchin' race cars, they're race cars. I'm gonna be driving a brand new Camaro 1LE for a baseline. This is something that all these cars are gonna compare their times to, and we're talking a brand new car. So for them to beat that car, that says enough for me. One other thing is the weather. The weather right now is about 75 degrees, supposed to reach up into the hundreds. That means there's gonna be hot, slick conditions out there, and that's gonna be a testament to these Falken tires. So I gotta get in that car, throw down that base lap, and watch these guys run. All right, so we are ready to hit the slalom course. There are 7 cones, 70 feet apart, and I like to start the course by already turning into the first one. And as you come through, you're gonna aggressively turn each one and accelerate out as hard as you can to get your best time.
Slalom is a staple. I like the slalom because everyone thinks they're gonna kill the slalom. I mean, you think about it, you know, it's 70 foot per cone, so there's 7 cones, I think, 70 feet apart, it's 420 feet. And you'll talk to guys and they'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill it. Yeah, it's easy. It is, you know, so how hard is it, right? You go between the cones. What they fail to understand is how close you get to those cones determines your time way more than necessarily even how fast you're going.
We do have 3 events. It's the slalom, road course, and the 100-yard dash.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you looking forward to?
I'm gonna own the slalom.
Yeah?
I'm gonna own it.
Awesome.
And the road course, that thing is gonna be hard to keep up with.
So I like the confidence on the slalom. Why?
Yeah. It's just one of those things that I've always been good at. I've never hit a cone on a slalom yet.
That's awesome.
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
cool.
that thing will transition from left to right slalom. Like
That's a true test of these cars is the slalom, because you upset the car so much because you're going side to side so quickly.
Yeah.
By the 6th cone, I mean, you could be all over the place.
It's not so much the suspension and handling of the vehicle that's my biggest problem in that. It's more of the torque.
Yeah.
Because you just press the throttle a little too much and you're breaking the rear tires loose.
Cool. All right, guys, so we're out here on the slalom course today. Group 1 is going first with the slalom and the 100-yard dash. I don't know if you remember yesterday's interview, but I interviewed a guy with the Hot Shifts Chevelle, and he said he was gonna kill it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I wanna see how well he does and see if he can back those words up.
John Hotchkiss came out with a new coilover system that I was pretty interested in, and we gave him the car to say, hey, put that on there and let's get it tuned in and see what we can do. And we went out 2 days of testing. We got it working really well. And basically have Jason driving the car this year. I have other obligations for driving cars, and so I had Jason, one of my good buddies. I basically figured he'd hand me back a car that wasn't a smoldering hunk of wrecked metal. I trust his driving ability, and he's come a long way. You know, for being a rookie to get in a car, it's a very neutral car. It handles really well, it brakes well, it's got a lot of power, but it's a very neutral car. That's what's made him go from running last place every event to now running up in the top 3.
So this car is originally the 48-hour Corvette built by RideTech. We acquired it in January at the Barrett-Jackson auction when it came up for sale for the 2nd time. And ended up with it and had it on the track the next day. So it's something where we don't see these kind of cars as something you just sit and look at. They're built to go and play with and use it to its fullest ability. So everything in the car is RideTech. So it's got all of their upper and lower control arms in the car. It's got their sway bars. It's got the electronic shocks. And then it's got forged line wheels front and back, 11s in the front, 12s in the rear. It's got like a 4-to-1 steering box in it. So I mean, you move the steering wheel this much and the car just goes.
Like a go-kart.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
That's why it was so good in the slalom.
So So in the slalom testing, the yellow Corvette I think is at the top with like a 592. That's killing it, man. He's getting through those cones real quick. And the thing I noticed most about him compared to the others is how smooth he was going through there. He wasn't on and off the gas, kept a consistent speed, and got through there, like I said, real smooth. All right, so we're ready to do the 100-yard dash. This is an acceleration test. Cars with traction control will benefit from this. We have one. And all you're doing is getting from 0 to 100 yards as quick as you can.
The 100-yard dash we did because we needed something that was different, but we didn't want to have to get the drag strip and VHT and safety. So we said, well, like a street race. You know, street race, there's no VHT, there's nothing on the ground. How well does the car leave the line and accelerate? So we came up with a 100-yard dash. It's 300 feet, so now we have a totally different driver skill. And you'd be surprised how many guys who are road course drivers who just can't get the whole feather out and shift and keep the car, because there's no, like I said, there's no VHT or any kind of traction help, how they just can't seem to get that without sitting there and spinning the tires too much, which kills their time. So it's a good test of the car and the driver again, and it's something different than the road course or the slalom.
My name is Rob McIntosh. I brought my 1969 Camaro. It was my high school car. We started about 4 or 5 years ago modifying the car from its original construction and decided to go with Detroit Speed because of all of the quality components they have and the support we've seen over the last couple of years. So we've got their hydroform subframe in the front, JRI double adjustable coilovers. And then in the rear we've got the Detroit Speed Quadrolink and also JRI coilovers. So we're actually running a 15-to-1 steering rack in it right now. Opted for a little bit faster steering input over the 20-to-1 stock box. So it's got a 427 small block Chevy running crank trigger, coil packs. It's around 700 crank horsepower. It's got a 6XD full sequential 6-speed transmission in it. Yeah, so the car has a traction control system, so I really want to see if I can tune it in and get, you know, the fastest time possible out of it.
We won't talk about the 100-yard dash.
Was it the gearbox?
No, it was me.
Okay.
It was me. I take
All right.
full responsibility there, and it was just, you know, I've never been able to get off the line well, and there's a fine line in that car between lighten up the hides and end up having coffee on the line.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a toss-up between which, and I ended up doing it. Now, of course, with only 5 runs, you know, it was where it was.
Sure.
I could have done better with more runs and more experience behind the wheel and getting a good launch with the car. With the Team Speedway car, I had the opportunity to drive it in its former rear suspension life, and it had a truck arm, and it was good. It wasn't great, but it did a really good job for the type of suspension it had on it.
Initially, it came out with a truck arm suspension, which is inherently a little on the rigid side, just because the truck arms will clamp to the axle and then it triangulates, and it's a little more rigid, doesn't have as much roll capability. So last winter, we've got a first gen torque arm suspension that we designed that bolts in. And we put that in last winter, mainly as a test. But then as we kind of continued, found out that freeing the car up, which is what Mary had asked for previously when she had run the car, did free the car up because it's, you know, it pivots, right? It isn't constrained. So consequently, she likes it better. And you know, if Mary Posey says you want to do something, you might want to listen.
It's so much better now. I mean, you can pretty much put it where you want. You make some corrections to shocks and sway bars if you choose to get it so it can adapt better to the different type of events that you're putting it through. And I was really pleased with it.
All right, so we're wrapping up the 100-yard dash, and again, the yellow Corvette took that. So it's a sweep over here for him. I don't know what the times are for them over there, but they're gonna come over here and do the same thing we did. We're going back over there, so who knows what's gonna happen. So far, it's the yellow Vette.
We run at Fontana on their infield. I think it's a really good road course. It's similar to the Optima. They run an Optima event right after ours, and it's a good, fast course. It's got 2 good straightaways, so that's really good for the cars with high horsepower, but it's got some really tight aspects, which are really good driver tests. And that course, if you're not taking a good line through that course, you're just not gonna have a good time. So that course, like any road course, really favors drivers who are used to driving on road courses. Guys who are used to driving on autocross sometimes don't get that you use the entire course. Sometimes with an autocross, you're trying to tighten up the course and drive the shortest distance kind of thing. But road course, you want to keep speed going, so you're gonna drift out to the edges and come back in. So again, it's a good test of the car, it's a good test of the driver, and everyone likes road course stuff.
All right, so we're getting ready to get on the road course now. It's about 1.4 miles, 11 turns. We took 2 of them out, but the track's still about the same length, just because we altered it a little bit. So let's get ready to go. And I'm gonna use the manual mode in this. So we're on the front straightaway now, and our first turn, this is typically, you're gonna come down here, this track hard right now, and you'll start braking. Of course, we're not gonna go around too crazy. We don't have a harness or roll bar or anything like that. What you're doing is hitting your apexes, and I like to hit these bumps because it actually will kick the back end around to help you turn. And the key point, the biggest key here is lining up for your next turn. So I like to come in a little wide and then come in short, especially on this one, because you got a hard right afterwards. And then we're come up here and you got a long sweeper, but you can start getting your speed up now. And you come back down, you got another right turn, hit your apex, and then back into another turn. And then start braking, downshifting, coming in, and another hard right. Back into a right, into a nice left, down a straightaway. So you can start getting a lot of time back here if you screwed up in a couple turns back there. Like I said, we're gonna cruise. We're not going crazy. Then you start downshifting a little bit, and this is a fast turn area. Hit that, hit your next one, set up for your last turn here. And this turn can be hard because it is long, it's a sweeper, but it tends to get a little sharper at the end. You can spin out easily, but you want to set up for your straightaway. So now you're coming down the straightaway. Little bit of a dog leg here. This is where all the speed happens.
Suspension is pretty much stock. I have the stock lower control arms. I have the stock rear suspension. The upper control arms I've replaced with an adjustable upper control arm. The motor is a small block Chevy 350. This one's been bored over a little in stroke and with a ton of compression in it. And then I'm running a close ratio Muncie 4-speed.
I know energy suspension is a big part of your car. What are you running with them as far as components?
Just about everything I could find with respect to suspension and pivots.
So the guys in Group 2 just finished up over here at the road course where I made my way because I wanted to see what the results were. And it looks like the energy suspension has a 118 lap in that Corvette, and that's the best of the day so far. All right, so the guys are taking a break, eating lunch. I snuck in, got some of the results for half day. So far on the Slalom, the yellow Vette is a 592, Morrison Camaro is a 627, and we have a tie in that class actually. The Speedway Camaro's got a 627 also. On the 100-yard dash, yellow Vette 491, Morrison 493, and the Willwood Camaro 510. And then the road course, the big one, energy suspension at a 117. The blue Camaro, which is a 1973, is at a 120, and then the 69 gray Camaro is at a 124. So these guys are wrapping up. We're gonna get back out on the track and finish this day off.
It started 10 years ago, and it originally debuted at SEMA. It was a show car. It took home a GM Design Award for Best Sports Car, And then after that, we've just been continually like testing and evolving the car, trying to get better performance out of it, better handling, better road manners, make it faster, turn it into an all-around car that you could daily drive if you wanted. This year we switched over to a full Art Morrison suspension system, so it uses their subframe with some custom control arms and billet drop spindles, and the rear is their multi-link independent rear suspension with JRI shocks.
How do you like it?
Oh, it's amazing. It rides better than any BMW on the highway, and it's got performance that can match the best sports cars on the track.
How long have you been building cars with your son?
Well, let's see, 1987, was doing it on the side and having a full-time job. Now, I own ABC Performance, which my son and I together started the company, and we started that in '09, and now we're manufacturing and selling parts for the GMA bodies.
Well, it's all our suspension, lower and upper control arms. We fixed the geometry in the front, moved the ball joints around, got a 2-inch drop spindle. Sway bar is a NASCAR sway bar that we use because we got to go with a bigger sway bar with this car because it's heavier. I think that's what helps us out getting the car around the corners. But yeah, I mean, everything's TIG welded, fixture built. It's a factory frame that we stiffened up, boxed in, mini tubbed. Got bigger tires on the back, small block Chevy, Tremec 6-speed. All the rear ends from Strange Engineering. Got the camber toed floater, works well with the car. Turn 1 gearbox. I mean, the car turns like no other. I mean, for a big, heavy car like that, it's just amazing what it does on the track.
All right, so the numbers are in for Group 2 on the slalom course. The SpeedTech Camaro has ran a 6:15. So far, just with the slalom course, Group 1 has the fastest car.
I've had the car for about 8 years. I got it out in Nevada, and I slowly started working on suspension maybe about 7 years ago when I went to my first autocross. And slowly it's just been transitioning to what it is right now. And the paint and body just got completed by One Off Rides Garage out of Norco. And so this is basically like the third phase of the build, I guess. It's a Craigslist used engine, LS2 with a 4L70. Stock 12 bolt, has a full UMI suspension front to rear, and we're using the Old American Rocom series. It's a single adjustable shock. We went with a 550 spring in the front and a 160 in the rear, and we're also using a Phase 2 Watts link, and with the Willwood brakes and American Racing wheels.
All right, so Group 2 has started the 100-yard dash. Let's see how they stand up to Group 1.
It started off as a small block 350, nothing special, and it was originally purchased as a daily driver. I like that terminology. I know full well that we knew it was going to become a race car. And now it ended up being a 430 cubic inch LS. It's also got a 4L60E transmission with total Sonax billet internals. It's got a complete total cost involved chassis underneath. It has a total cost involved Pro Touring IFS front suspension. It's got Willwood brakes, Ride-Tech shocks, rack and pinion steering. That also has a total cost involved torque arm rear suspension. A little bit different for me, had to be beefed up a little for my kind of driving. It's got a Fab 9 rear end, fabricated 9-inch, True Track posi, 35 spline floating axles, floater hubs, also Willwood 13-inch brakes. Yeah, it's still overkill for what I know how to use, but I'm working up to the equipment right now.
All right, so I looked at the numbers for Group 2 on the 100-yard dash, and TCI has just pulled off a 469 in that wagon. That means they're a little bit ahead of Group 1 on the 100-yard dash, but Group 1 has beat them in the slalom. And so now I just need to find out the results from the road course to figure out if Group 1 or 2 won that.
This is our project car, Track Rat. So it's a 1968 Camaro. We've been working on this car for, I think, 11 years now. It came to us as a shell, and Finally got on the road yesterday. The engine is a 440-inch RHS block LS engine, so it's based on the GM LS engine, but there's no GM parts. It's a 4.25-inch stroke on a 4.25-inch bore, made, forgot 650 horse. On the engine dyno, we made 558 horsepower and 558 foot-pounds to the tires. The trans is a Tremec Magnum 6-speed. It's got a Eaton TrueTrack posi in it, 370 gears, in a Chassis Works housing. Suspension is all Chassis Works. So it's Chris Olson Chassis Works. It's their subframe, their G Street subframe with their upgraded billet spindles and rack and pinion steering, of course.
We've gone through quite a few iterations of brakes on this car, and we've ended up with our Aerolite 14-inch brake system on it, coupled along with the Chris Alston uprights. It's real similar to what you're going to find on a lot of the later model Pro Touring front ends. So on the rear, we've got a 14-inch Super Light setup that uses our internal parking brake system on a new style Ford 2.5-inch offset rear end. You know, the road course is always something that I enjoy the most. The slalom is something that I've not done enough times to really get a good grasp for. So I'm kind of looking forward to the slalom, and I also think that it's going to be a good way for us to shake down and see what the car needs and how to make it better.
So started out back in high school, had a 65 Chevelle, always wanted to build something amazing. As I got into college, didn't really have a budget, so I found a 67 Camaro that had been in a fire and left in a farmer's field, and it was solid rust. Got it for 300 bucks and started from there over the last 10 years, panel by panel, just doing it in a one-car garage. So suspension's kind of custom built. It started as a Schwartz performance chassis, and then I ended up redoing the A-arms in front. And then Matt over at Best to Show Coach Works built the 3-link with me for the rear. So we're running a Watts link with a 3-link in the rear, and just kind of custom A-arms in front. So running bare 6Ps all the way around, been great to work with. As kind of a rookie novice builder, they walked me through kind of the process start to finish of which calipers I needed, the rotors I needed, and they fit first time. Any issue I've had, I've called them, like 10 minutes, they've helped me resolve it. So out of all the events, biggest surprise is the car actually did well on the road course. It's actually my only second time ever being on a road course, and the Falcons communicated really well. I was able to post mid-pack, which I was happy with being a rookie at this event. And then slalom, 100-yard dash, I was right mid-pack, which I was really impressed with the car, able to do that. It's a big help to those tires, and then Best to Show with kind of their build quality.
All right, so Group 1 just wrapped up the road course, and again, the yellow Corvette kicked ass with a 114. So now we're gonna turn it over to Steve Rupp to get the overall winner.
All right. Let's do the top 5. So 5th place with a score of 43 points. The Detroit Speed car, the red Camaro with the 427. All right. 4th place, driven by Fast Mary Posey with a score of 46 points, the Speedway Camaro. The 3rd place, I was surprised, but I shouldn't have been because I really like wagons. Total cost involved, the 64 Nova wagon in 3rd place with a score of 48 points, so just edging out. Bumping up to 52 points, 2nd place for Best to Show Coach Works, Art Morrison sponsored 69 Camaro with Matt Arcala. And with a score of 58 points, he won 2 of the events. I think I came in 2nd in another one, so it really wasn't hard to figure this out. 58 points, the Ride Tech Corvette, Mr. Sheely. I told you needed to stick around a little bit.
Yeah, that's
You got to
awesome.
say ka-chow when you get the piston.
I know, my son is going to be stoked.
say you won it just for him.
Yeah.
All right, man. So anyways, so good job.
Do a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Good job, man.
Inviting us out.
All right, so 2019 is in the books and it was a great day. Like I said, it was hot and slick out here, and man, the Falken Tires performed at their best. So if you want to check out more of our day, check out Super Chevy Magazine or hotrod.com.